Greetings, YouTube. Some of you might remember the fact that I own two tire thumpers. This one I picked up at a yard sale. It's a kind of a billy club style with a weight at the end. And I picked this one up at a garage. It's an oval cross section, again, with that weight in the end. It has some grip, and both of them have lanyards. And I like them. I think they're cool. They make they're nice clubs, and they would make good one-handed weapons. This one, a little more heft to it, because it's a little bit longer and a little more mass in the front. But me being me, I want to make my own. So I bought myself a true temper tool handle, which is for I believe it's for originally for a pick, a heavy pick. Now my friend Mike, the weapon collector here on YouTube, has one of these with a steel shank up here. It is so awesome. I would love to find one as a club, because this would make a nice club in and of itself. It's got a really nice heft and overall feel. Now it has a very slight taper in here, and then it swells out very subtly. And it has an oval cross section, and the wood has a nice feel and nice heft to it. Now I could have gotten a handle like you kind of use on a sledgehammer. Recently I did that in a crafting video where I put a new head on a sledgehammer, a new handle on a sledgehammer. I don't know how you look at it, but it didn't have quite the same feel or quite the same mass, and I liked the taper. I did. It was very subtle, but I like it. So my goal here is to take this, and I'm going to cut it about 18 inches, which is going to be right about here. Then I'm actually going to turn this section into another small impact weapon. It'll only be this, that long, but I still think it will make an interesting club, kind of almost a sap-like device. And this is the weight I'm going to put in the end. This is a 3/8 inch bolt, which is 9 inches long. And I'm going to, again, after I cut it, I'm going to drill a pilot hole with the drill bit, and then I'm going to drill a much deeper hole, so that this will be all the way in here. Well, at least that's my goal. So adding some significant heft to it. And if I'm smart and I remember, I shall weigh this before I actually get around to doing it and see how much it differs in weight. And I'm going to check the balance so I can tell you how the balance differs as well. I'll make sure I'll do that after I drill the hole for the lanyard, so that it also gives me as honest a reading as I can before I go and go drill the hole out and add the bolt in there. And I plan on epoxying. This is a machine bolt. This is obviously designed for a nut. I'm going to have them pouring some epoxy into the hole at first, and then putting this in. Probably going to have to tap it in with my hammer, my engineering hammer, just 48 ounces. But the epoxy, especially once it gets into these threads in here and you get inside this wood, it gets into the wood fiber, is going to lock this thing up like nobody's business. And I'm using a 3/8 inch bit, so everything should be nice and snug, so there should be no problem worrying about it coming loose. So the next step is going to be to mark it and to cut it and to drill it, and get all that taken care of. So that's my next stage. And put these away, because maybe I don't need these right now. Or actually keep them out and I can do a comparison. I'm done. Yeah, I can do that. Alright, there you go. So here we have the tool handle strapped to the table, and there's my Marples pull to cut Japanese style saw. And I'm just going to take this and I'm going to come in here just at the edge of this label. That's about where I want it, because I don't want any of this label on the tool I'm going to really aiming for. I don't care if it's going to be in the secondary kind of bonus object I'm going to end up with on this end. That's fine, but I want to make sure I get that taken care of right there. So that's up next. That's just a really lovely cut. I really love that tool. It works really well. So there we have it. Next up, while I have it already bolted to the table, I'm going to mark it with an awl, and then I'm going to put a pilot hole in there before I get around to using the long bit I have for drilling the deep hole. So there you have it. Alrighty, the hole is drilled. Unfortunately, the drill bit walked a little on me, and I ended up with a hole a little bit bigger than I want. It still fits in there snugly in the last inch or so, but definitely it is going to be the epoxy that holds this puppy in. I'm going to be mixing some of that up next to fill that up. But I would want to drill the two holes where I had the drill out, the two holes for the lanyards on both of the devices, and then I'm probably going to take my orbital center out knock the edges off this, smooth this over just a smidge to dress it up a little bit. Alright, we're back. The two pieces have been cut. I have put lanyard holes in each of them and chamfered the edges. That one is done. This is a completed device. I'm just going to put lanyard on that. I mean, it's got a nice heft to it. Let's see what it weighs in at. It weighs in at 572 grams. So, you know, a little over half a kilo. And this weighs in at 377. So, after we're finished, we're going to figure out how much weight we've added to it with the bolt. So the next thing to do is to make up some epoxy, and I found these in my drawer. I've had these for a while, just some 2-part epoxy envelopes. So I'm going to cut them up and see if they work. Oh, my washer's done. Sorry about the song in the background. So that's what I'm going to do next. Cut up a bunch of these, mix it up, and pour it into the hole. So that's my next section. Alrighty, so now you notice that my device is sitting in a clamp, because while the hole was too loose to hammer it in, with the epoxy in there, it's really, really tight. So I've put this under compression, and now I'm going to let it sit for 24 hours and we're going to see what this looks like tomorrow. So that's the next stage. See if this thing stays in place when I take the clamp off. It should be completely dry by then. This is actually like a 15-minute epoxy, but I'm going to give it a full 24 hours to cure completely, which is what you should do. So there you have it. I was kind of surprised the epoxy would work because I've had it for a really long time, but it did. So there you have it. I know it's sticky. I could just wash my hands to get it off my fingers. So next stage is see if it works. But at least that one's done. So it is the next day, and the epoxying process succeeded. So now we're going to check the weights on these things. Now this one, which is the 575. So this is just the top half of the tool handle, which I've just drilled a hole with, cleaned up the end, and strapped some paracord on it. Let's see what these weigh. The other ones weigh. That one's 446. Let's do the Barjan. That's 394. Now this one was 377, and it now is 496. And now this one is almost as much as this one, which is my heaviest short club. And I already showed you I just put the lanyard on it. That's all I did there. But the bolt did set. I did get a little leakage. I can clean that up later if I want to, or if I don't care. It doesn't. I don't know. It's not that big a deal. But it's definitely not moving. I had to put a fair amount of pressure to get that in there because, again, well, the hole was too large for me to just use friction. It was very, very close to the same diameter this thing is. The walking, I think, is of the drill bit because the hole's so deep is what made the hole just slightly too big. But it was just beautifully similar. So when I put the lube, put the epoxy in there, it did function as lube, but it also filled up the bottom, and then a vacuum formed, and it just kept pushing the bolt back out. I mean, it was sticking out like that far. And I'd push it back in, I'd let go, and it would push it right back out again. So that's why I put it in the clamp and let it sit overnight. So there you have it. My very own tire thumper, or short club. Even might be construed as a light mace. And I'm quite happy with it. I think I like the way it looks, I like the way it feels. This taper right here, and the very slight taper to this, the overall cross section, I like it better than this one. This one's a little too thick for my taste. This one's a little thinner. This is also, I don't know what the heck to call that. I mean, it's a short club, and this is wood all the way up. It's just got this plastic thing on top. So I don't know what to call this thing. If anybody has a great idea, tell me. And then, of course, that's the tire thumper that I picked up at a yard sale some years ago. So there you have it, folks. Short clubs in my collection.